All right. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Melissa C. I'm a recovered compulsive overeater. I am in New York and happy to be here tonight with all of you. So, tonight we're going to talk about step four, making a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. I always like to give a quick little qualification before I ever jump into the directions. For those that, we need some sort of identification to know, are we in the right place? Is this person who's speaking here have any experience to offer me with the disease of compulsive eating? So I'll share with you that, yes, I do have some experience with the disease of compulsive eating. I have been a compulsive eater, I think, most of my life. I don't know quite when, but at some point, it may have been before I was even putting words, out of my mouth, but I crossed a line where I could no longer manage and control the amount of food I ate. And I have been really most of my years I spent either dieting or binging. Like there was nothing in between. I could not live comfortably without eating compulsively. And I certainly wasn't living comfortably while eating compulsively. I felt always off inside. And the time I really came in and surrendered for good, I had a crushing blow, which was I knew exactly what I needed to do because I've been dieting my whole life and I knew what foods were problematic. I knew it really well. I had been familiar with the program of Overeaters Anonymous because I had been in and out. And what really was the crushing blow was I knew what I needed to do and I could not do it. I could not gather up enough force, energy, no matter what the necessity or wish. In fact, I had gone to a doctor who gave me a frightening, tale of what he didn't think I was going to make it out of my 40s because of my high blood pressure, my morbid obesity. I needed an operation. I needed two transfusions. I was a mess. And with that information, being told you're morbidly obese and you've got to do something about it, I knew that. And I was like, wow, I really have to do something about it. And I went to the drive-through. That's what it means. And that was the crushing blow for me. And, not long after, I cried out to God for help. God, I didn't even believe in really. I didn't even know that it would do anything for me, but I believe God heard my cry. And I became entirely willing to do anything that was asked of me. And I recovered. That's the truth. I recovered. I no longer live in bondage to the food, to the weight. I've been relieved of over 160 extra pounds. I've lived in a regular sized body. I've been abstinent for over 12 years. Um, Food is no longer my master. I heard somebody say over the weekend that they can eat anything they want. And guess what? So can I. I can eat anything I want. And the great miracle is, I don't want those other foods that used to be problematic for me. And that is only a miracle. That is a miracle that's God's doing for me what I could not do for myself. So, um, all right, so let's jump into step four now that you know, right? This is the experience. So we have to take certain steps. Step one was I admitted my powerlessness. Step two, I came to believe that there was a power greater than me that could solve my problem. Step three, I decided I was going to turn everything over. I was going to surrender everything to that power my whole life. And then I discovered that there were obstacles in my path to having a full surrender. And so that's what step four is about. It's about discovering the obstacles, the things that are in the way between me having the relationship with my creator that's required to live, abstinently and happily. So step four, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. And page 64, it says, though our decision was a vital and crucial step, it could have little permanent effect unless at once followed by a strenuous effort to face and to be rid of the things in ourselves which had been blocking us. Our liquor was but a symptom. So we had to get down to causes and conditions. So they're saying food is a symptom, right? Of what? What is it a symptom to? It's of a much greater illness. Otherwise, if my whole problem was food or abstinence, right? If food was my problem, then abstinence would be the entire program. It would be, okay, don't eat those foods. Okay, check, all good. So, what's the greater illness then? Because we know abstinence is not the solution. So, then what is the greater problem? It's the things inside me, you know, not outside me, inside me. The causes and the conditions, the internal causes and conditions that keep me needing to soothe with food. And in the AA 12 and 12, it says this on the bottom of page 49. Once we have a complete willingness to take inventory and exert ourselves to do the job thoroughly, a wonderful light falls upon this foggy scene. As we persist, a brand new kind of confidence is born, and the sense of relief at finally facing ourselves is indescribable. These are the first fruits of step 4. And I think that's wonderful because what it tells me is that we begin to feel uplifted from just the thought of exerting ourselves and seeing ourselves honestly. It actually says that the action of uncovering ourselves and facing ourselves gives us confidence and relief. And yet, so many of us have been afraid of the 4th step as if it's like a monster, as if it's a boogeyman, right? But it says here that we actually start to feel confident because we're going to get down to the causes and conditions. We're going to find out, why is it that I've been living such a difficult life, right? And, so by now it says the newcomer has probably arrived at the following conclusions: that his character defects, representing instincts gone astray, have been the primary cause of his drinking and his failure at life. So many of us have had also this huge sigh of relief, like, oh, this is why I've always used food. And the text makes clear that the drinking or eating did not cause the defects. The defects caused the drinking. The defects caused the eating, which is why food plans and abstinence will not cure us, right? So what's blocking me is inside of me. It's not external. And sometimes we hear people say how horrible they were when they were in the food, as if the in the food was what caused us to suffer through the pain of going through life, right? But actually, we find that the food did not create the selfishness. The food did not create the fear or any other character defects. In fact, we find that the food is what we used to suffer through the pain or not suffer through the pain of going through life being us, right? I used food because being me was really uncomfortable. And the food was the fuel I used to sort of grease the wheels of locomoting through life being me. Food is the substance I used to tolerate the pain of living. The problem was, is that it didn't work, right? It, especially as the disease progresses, the amount that I needed to get me to zero, to get me to sort of soothe, grows and grows and grows. And I reached a point where it stopped working. It no longer got me numb. And even then, I couldn't stop because now I had crossed the line right? From which there's no escape through human aid alone. So the food makes us feel better until it makes us feel worse. And by the time it makes us feel worse, we are powerless to its grip, unable to stop, right? In the big book, page 64 says this: resentment is the number one offender. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. So now we're going to find out what are the problems that we really have. It's our resentment. From it stems all forms of spiritual disease, for we have not only been mentally and physically ill, we have been spiritually sick. When the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. In dealing with resentments, we set them on paper. We listed people, institutions, or principles with whom we were angry. We ask ourselves, why were we angry? And in most cases, it was found that our self-esteem, our pocketbooks, our ambitions, our personal relationships, including sex, were hurt or threatened. So we were sore. We were burned up. So when we ask ourselves why we're angry, it's not to assign blame, right? It's not so that we can point to other people. Why I'm angry is not because she did blank, right? Why I'm angry is because something inside me was affected. I am extraordinarily sensitive. We find that out, that we seem to be affected by lots of things. And I think it's always important to remember, whose inventory is this, right? When we're doing our inventory, we're not inventorying our mothers, our sisters, our neighbors, our spouses, the government, our coworkers. We're actually inventorying ourselves. We're finding out what inside ourselves is being disturbed by all the rest of the people. Remember, in step 3, we find out that everybody has a perspective, just like I have a perspective. And everybody in the world thinks their perspective is fact, just like I think my perspective is fact. And that most of the time I run into problems with people because I'm trying to force my perspective on their throat and they're trying to force theirs down mine, right? So I have to recognize what's inside me rather than what's inside other people. The first thing it says on page 66, the first thing apparent was that the world and its people were often quite wrong. To conclude that others were wrong was as far as most of us ever got. The usual outcome was that people continued to wrong us and we stayed sore. Sometimes it was remorse, and then we were sore at ourselves. But the more we fought and tried to have our own way, the worse matters got. As in war, the victor only seemed to win. Our moments of triumph were short-lived. So, I want to say something about remorse and being sore at ourselves. We hear often, that, like a defect some of us have is that we're hard on ourselves. And I think that might be true. I think, we are hard on ourselves, but our program actually asks us to be hard on ourselves and gentler with others. And I think the purpose is so not that we walk around with remorse and regret. I think that feeling of remorse and regret is wishing that the past was different than the past was, right? And that's not where we live. We live in the present. So if you are doing your inventory and you're fearful because you start feeling remorse and regret, rest assured, step 8 and 9 are going to help you with that. You're going to recognize what it is that you need to clean up or pray for or ask for forgiveness for or forgive others for. And that remorse and regret will be removed. We're actually promised it, but not in step 4 and not in step 5 and not in step 6. It's actually part of our 9th step and 10th step promises. We will not regret the past or wish to shut the door on it. So if you're feeling remorse and you're upset with yourself, take a deep breath and keep on moving. I want to just sort of put that out there. It says it's a plain that a life which includes deep resentment leads only to futility and unhappiness. To the precise extent that we permit these, do we squander the hours that might have been worthwhile. But with the alcoholic whose hope is the maintenance and growth of a spiritual experience, this business of resentment is infinitely grave. We found that it is fatal, for when harboring such feelings, we shut ourselves off from the sunlight of the spirit. The insanity of alcohol returns and we drink again. And with us, to drink is to die. If we were to live, we had to be free of anger. The grouch and the brainstorm were not for us. They may be the dubious luxury of normal men, but for alcoholics, these things are poison. So, we can't harbor these feelings of resentment. And when I think about a harbor, I think about, like a boat coming into dock. And a harbor is a safe place for that boat to tie itself up and dock and hang out. And I don't want to be a safe place for my resentments to tie themselves up and hang out, right? I want them gone. I don't want to invite them in and say, come on in, you're safe here, right? I want them away. I don't want to live with them, and that if I hang on to these feelings, what happens is I shut myself off from God. I've learned for myself, because I'm a distinct entity, I only have 2 ways that I can live. I'm either living in the sunlight of the spirit or I'm in the dark. And for me, in the dark, I think immediately, what was I doing in the dark? I was eating in parking lots in the dark like an animal. That's what it looks like for me when I'm in the dark. I don't want to live in the dark. We want to live in the sunlight of the spirit, in close proximity with our Creator. So hanging on, being angry, being grouchy, right? Having these things burn us up, they are the dubious luxury of normal men. But for us, it's poison. It will kill us. And that's a phrase I turn to a lot because it reminds me that as an ex-problem eater, I have a very unique set of directions. It's different from the directions that normal people have, right? It's part of why I say I'm a distinct entity, not just in the way that I eat, but in the way that I have to live my life. I cannot defend and support my side and my position. In fact, I actually have to divorce myself from that kind of thinking. I remember thinking that, for me, I used to think that getting recovery meant that I was going to get my voice so that I can defend my perspective and no longer be pushed around. Like I had this idea that people were stepping all over me and that I was going to get recovered and I was going to get strong and I was going to put those people in their place. They're never going to be able to speak to me like that again. I was going to be thin and confident and nobody's like rug. They're not going to step all over me. And that's not true. First of all, I learned to my inventory that was a bunch of crap. That was just my perspective. People were not stepping all over me unless I laid myself at their feet. And when I did that, it was because I wanted something in return, right? I made a decision at times to play the victim because that was a form of manipulation. It wasn't authentic. It wasn't real. I was a grown up and I could stand on my own 2 feet, right? And what I learned today was getting my voice. Well, I certainly can speak up for myself. I can have clarity. Today, I seek peace and love at all costs. And that often requires more discipline than putting the food down. I have to be very disciplined to let it go, to not look to get in to the fight, into the resentment. This morning, I know I keep sharing with you guys this class I have. They're like, I'm learning so much spiritually. I'm growing so much with this little group of 7-year-olds. They're like the best teachers I think I've had in a long time. And I came in this morning and I shared with some of my colleagues that, I've got a prayer reminder on my phone. It goes off every hour at work because I need to take a chill. I need to divorce myself. I need to let go of my perspective, to not cling so tight that they're not listening to me. They're being disrespectful. They ought to do this. They're too noisy. They're whatever it is. I have this lie I've been telling myself, they're too far behind. They'll never catch. Like, I have all these ideas and I've been asking God to remove them. And I shared with my colleagues that I, I've noticed I'm the problem because I'm getting dysregulated in the afternoon with their chatter. I'm telling you, 30 years ago, noise in the classroom never bothered me. I'm feeling my age. I feel it. I'm a little more sensitive to noise than I used to be. That's on me. I have to divorce myself from thinking I'm entitled to a quiet classroom in the afternoon. I'm not. And so I shared that with my colleagues. And in a second, they went, wow, that's pretty cool. And then they said, they are really noisy in the afternoon. And like it went, well, I'm a distinct entity. I can't hang out there. I I am the one who has to change. That's what my step 4 teaches me, that I have to divorce myself from that kind of thinking, you know, and that requires discipline. I have a spiritual sickness, a disease, an uneasiness with reality as it is. People do not always behave according to my master plan. For me, I found out life was not unfolding precisely the way I was certain it should be unfolding. And this is like stuff in the past. I had certain things that happened and I believed I was 100% right. Certain people in my life did things that they shouldn't have done. Situations happened and they shouldn't have happened. And I couldn't let go of it. And I've come to know that I am in the greatest danger of this spiritual malady when I'm right. When I cling tight to my position and I insist that I'm right, what am I doing? I am creating a safe harbor for my resentments to dock and hang out. That's what happens when I'm 100% right. And being right, I found out, has not given me peace and happiness. Being right is not a great source of comfort, and it doesn't make me free. So, what do? We cross examine ourselves. We look closely and critically at ourselves. And in the AA 12 and 12, it says this on page 52. If my disturbance was seemingly caused by the behavior of others, why do I lack the ability to accept conditions I cannot change? Again, we cannot base our happiness on the actions of others. And then further down the page, it says, if I am unable to change the present state of affairs, am I willing to take the measures necessary to shape my life to conditions as they are? What does that mean? It means that my inventory will help me ultimately find a way to live happily and peacefully, even though life is not going according to my design. And it may never, right? And it may never. The inventory helps me grow, to accept and trust God's design, right? And oftentimes, as we're inventorying our lives, we come face to face with injustices. And when we look at our resentments, we are certain that we are right and they are wrong. Whoever it is, they're wrong and I'm right. And to this I say, great, you're right. Now, right? You win. Okay, next. Now, what are you going to do? Now, let's find a way to live happily, peacefully, and productively in light of this. And quite simply, what I found out is that other people's values, other people's perspectives, other people's actions are often none of my business, right? Not my business. So, how? How are we going to do this? How do we do this then? Well, it says we turn back to the list, for they held the key to our future. We were prepared to look at it from an entirely different angle. We began to see that the world and its people really dominated us. In that state, the wrongdoing of others, fancied or real, had the power to actually kill. How could we escape? We saw that these resentments must be mastered. But how? We could not wish them away any more than the alcohol, or in our case, any more the food. So here's our course. This is what we're going to do to get rid of it. We realize that the people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick, right? If there are people who hurt us, who did wrong, we can say, okay, they're sick, right? And page 67 says, though we did not like their symptoms and the way that these disturbed us, they, like ourselves, not just they're sick, they, like ourselves, were sick too. We ask God to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience that we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. When a person offended, we said to ourselves, this is a sick man. How can I be helpful to him? God save me from being angry. Thy will be done. And so this is where I say that we have to have a strong prayer practice because we pray for people. And for me, I have this process where I create prayers for situations and people. I've got one for my class this year, right? I have one for because they've been like whatever. They're my spiritual teachers this year. By the way, last year it was my sister. It's always someone. It's so it tells me it's me, right? It's me that's got some growing to do. I'm never going to get to a spot where the rest of the world has to be perfect for me to feel okay. Because then I'm not just, I used to be, food used to be my master. But if I'm waiting to be happy based on what everyone else does, then guess what? Everyone else is my master now. I've just traded the food for the master being mastered by the world. I can't live that way. So I have a process. I pray for these people. And, for me, I found it was very helpful. I reword the prayer that I often change it from like spiritually sick because there felt for me that felt sort of judgmental. Like I'm looking down on these people, like they're spiritually sick. And I'd rather say that they're spiritually developing, that they're growing. And I guess that sort of appeals to maybe that like early educator in me. I love the idea of developmental, that things grow over time. And actually, it helps me when I pray for the people who, who I believe may have wronged me. I try to envision them as children. I try to envision them in a form that doesn't feel so frightening, that I don't feel so intimidated by, that sort of and it gives me a feeling of empathy and compassion when I can picture them as children, because guess what? Every single one of them were at one time, right? every one of the players in my life at one time were children. And if I can envision them that way, I'm not so angry because I wouldn't really be angry at a small child for doing things that a small child should do. Right. And so I think that's a way of looking at people that invites a loving and tolerant stance, which is what I'm directed to do. And, and I have a very specific code. We all do as recovered people. It's love and tolerance. We're told that's your code. So I want to start getting that even right here when I pray for these people. And I ask God, I ask God not just for more patience. I ask God to help me love them. I ask God, help me like have love in my heart for them. I know for my class, I keep asking God, please help me find them adorable. Help me see them as your little babies. And that really helps because I can look at they are adorable. They are sweet. And, you know, I I think like the other thing I ask for is I ask God to help me get a thicker skin, right? To help me be less sensitive. And I specifically have been asking God, please diminish my sensitivity to the noisiness of the afternoon. Help me. Help me so that I'm not so disturbed by it. Help me see it as like sweet chatter rather than like loud and annoying. Like, change my perspective, change my mind. They are not doing it to me. It's not personal, right? Don't take it personally. And so I ask God to change me so that I can face life successfully as it is right now. And says we avoid fighting. Why? Because we cannot win. The price we pay in this imagined victory is way too high. We don't get satisfaction. We get burned up. And either I get flooded with moral superiority, I start feeling like I'm better than everybody around me, or I get like totally like diminished by self pity. And both of those things leave me disconnected from people. If I feel like I'm above all of them and I'm looking down on them, or I feel like I'm being victimized, I'm not feeling connected in either way. And I don't want to be cut off and alone, right? I am a human. I am meant to feel connection to other human beings. Cut off and alone, what happens? I run to the food. I don't want to run to the food, And so now we get to what about fear? Okay. Fear. This short word somehow touches every aspect of our lives. It was an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of our existence was shot through with it. Sometimes we think fear ought to be classed with stealing. It seems to cause more trouble. And here we're told perhaps there's a better way. Yes, for we are now on a different basis. Remember, we're going to live our lives differently. We are on the basis of trusting and relying upon God. We trust infinite God rather than our finite selves. We are in the world to play the role He assigns, just to the extent that we do as we think He would have us and humbly rely on Him, does He enable us to match calamity with serenity. And I just love this. So, because it says we can overcome our fear as we learn to trust God. When I trust God, I'm much less afraid. And in step 3, we made a decision. We decided that we were going to have a new employer. And my 3rd step reminds me that if I stay close to God, that's my job. Melissa, stay close to God, perform His work well. My needs will be met. Your needs will be met. Might not be your wishes, might not be your desires, but your needs. And so, if I'm not afraid of my needs being met, if I just do what God's assigning me to do, my fear begins to go away. It starts to get removed because I feel like I'm going to be okay. And when I examine, this specific instance, right, with this class, what's one of my fears? Okay, I have a brand new administrator. One, I have a fear that she's going to think I'm like old, washed up, and ineffective because someone else might walk in and think, oh my God, her class is running amok, right? That's like my initial fear. So then I'm operating on a place where I'm worried what another person is thinking of me, right? But if I stay close to God and do his work well, what's my assignment? My assignment is to be these children's teacher and to meet them where they're at. And if this is where they're at in the afternoon, then this is where they're at. And it doesn't mean that I'm certainly not, nobody's hurting each other in the room. It's noise. And if my administrator has difficulty with noise, she's probably in the wrong profession, right? We're in an elementary school. It's not my business. It's not my business what she thinks of me. It's my business to do my job. And by the way, this is all created. This is my own story. I made it all up. Nobody said anything to me about me being ineffective. That's the fear. That's the tape in my brain, right? The other thing is, I have a fear that they're going to keep, because I have this story, they dump all the tough kids in my room. That's the tape I tell myself when I want to feel full of self-pity. They dump all these kids on me. They're giving me all the hard kids. And then I got this fear they're just going to continue to do it to me. I'm not living in the future anyway. That's not my job. And who's to say that I'm being dumped? Maybe I'm being blessed because I'm praying like nobody's business. Maybe I'm getting closer to God and getting to love these kids more and finding out something about myself and growing my skill set. And in the meantime, I have a student teacher, and maybe I'm giving her a good example. Maybe I'm helping her learn to grow, right? I don't know, but I know my job is to stay close to God and do what I think God wants me to do, right? And when I do this, my fear gets diminished. My real experience, one of the things that really brought me into OA for the last real time, I was sort of sharing with you that I had these health problems, and I started getting panic attacks in the midst of all my health difficulties. And I would be driving to work, um, and I had these overwhelming fears, and I would get tunnel vision. My heart would start pounding. I thought I was having a stroke. I would like, it was getting so bad that I used to drive all over the place. I mean, I still do. I've driven cross country by myself. I'm really not afraid of, I got so scared. It was hard for me to drive. It was getting hard, and it was getting harder and harder. And it was crippling. The fear. Then I was being afraid that I was going to have a panic attack. It wasn't just the panic attack, but I would think in the morning, oh my gosh, am I going to have another panic attack? And then I was getting crippled by this fear, right? And I would be driving to work, shoving food down my throat because that seemed like the only thing that was helping me. And then it stopped working. And no matter what I was eating, I couldn't get the fear to get turned down. And it turned out it was a gift. Can you imagine that that was a gift? Because it made me completely willing to do anything. I didn't even care anymore what I was told, what I couldn't eat, what I had to eat, what time I had to wake up. I was like, I'll do whatever you say. I can't live this way. I knew that there was, at that point, I knew there was something wrong with my head. And I was like, I don't care. I'll do anything. And so it made me willing to surrender. It was a beautiful gift. You know, I had many losses prior to recovery. And I remembered when I was doing my inventory, I got really upset at one point when I read um, that fear was a defect. I was like, how is that a defect? That's not my fault. I, you know, and I remembered saying, I'm entitled to be afraid. If you had the things that happened to me happen to you, you'd be scared too. I am entitled to be afraid. And here's like the most incredible thing. I have had like some of these beautiful God moments where God just really helped me. I heard this voice in my head say, no, you're entitled to better than that. And that was such like, that was what I needed to hear. I am entitled to better than fear, right? That I was entitled to much more than that. And so, how do we get free of the fear? How do you get it's trust and reliance on God? That is the way. We trust and rely on God. We trust and rely on the divine plan. And we're not promised the divine plan, the human plan. We're not promised pain free existences. It's not the way that seems that we were designed as humans. We are humans. We will, by our very finite existence, experience deep loss. That's part of the human experience. But I trust that I will get what I need. And a year ago, I lost my mom. I thought, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to get through this? I did, and I am. It's part of the human experience. And now, crazy, I mean, not crazy. Right now, my poor daughter-in-law is losing her mother. And I have a set of experiences. I can be uniquely useful. I am fresh with experience. I know exactly what I don't want, didn't want said to me. I'm certainly not saying it to her. I'm encouraging her to just love her mother, spend time with her mother. You know, so it turned out that my loss maybe is a gift, for her. We learn to trust because dependence on God allows me to trust. I work on my dependence on God. Page 68 says this: we never apologize to anyone for depending upon our Creator. We can laugh at those who think spirituality is the way of weakness. I absolutely never apologize for relying on God. In fact, if I am here to show others how amazing this power is, that's really my job, right? My job is to show other people what God has done for me. Then I think it would be horribly dishonest to pretend that God had nothing to do with this. And I don't try to soften it for other people. We're actually told share the spiritual solution freely. We're not supposed to worry that it's going to frighten people off. Once people have admitted that they have this problem, the only solution, if you have what I have, the only solution is a relationship with God. So why would I pretend that it's anything other than that? Right? I never apologize to God. Paradoxically, it is the way of strength. The verdict of the ages is that faith means courage. All men of faith have courage. They trust their God. We never apologize for God. Instead, we let him demonstrate through us what he can do. We ask him to remove our fear and direct our attention to what he would have us be. And at once we commence to outgrow fear. So I read this and I think, I don't have to be afraid of making a mistake. I can let go of my regrets. I like to think that God can work around my mistakes. And if I have regrets, like I said earlier, step 9 will help remedy them. I love the idea of letting God use me to show me what he can do. I think that's incredible. Like we're a show and tell operation, I was told. That my employer, like think about it, that I have a boss, we have a boss that uses me, that uses us to show others what he can do, which is why it's important when we share our stories, we are clear who the real hero is. In fact, the stories in the book say that these stories are about how we were able, we found ourselves enabled to believe in a power greater than ourselves, which will solve our problems. Next it's going to talk about sex, and it says that many of us needed an overhauling there. But above all, we try to be sensible in this question, and it's so easy to get off track. Here we find human opinions running to extreme, absurd extremes perhaps, and we want to stay out of this controversy. And I would say, further down, it talks about God molding our ideals and helping us to live up to them. So I sort of, I take this as I'm staying out of controversy. We're sort of reminded stay out of controversy, especially other people's sex conduct's really not my business, right? But I have a set of ideals and I ask God to mold my ideals and help me to live up to them. And I have to say, I can feel when I'm being molded. I can sort of feel the pressure, you know, that's being exerted. There's a little, I'm sort of like the clay that's being shaped. I think of God as the potter and I'm the clay. And I can feel when he's sort of pressing me to, to mold my ideals. And then God is so good. He doesn't just tell me what these ideals are, he gives me the strength to actually live in agreement with it. He helps me do the things that he wants me to do. You know, it talks about what we do if sex is very troublesome. And I love it. It says that we do this. This is our solution for everything, by the way. We seek God's direction and get busy helping others, right? And I think most of all, my fourth step inventory really is about letting go of the lies, the stories I tell myself, so that I can live in agreement, live in the sunlight of the spirit with my creator. And with that, I will stop the recording.